What if the best school for your child isn't the one that everyone is talking about, but the one that actually fits your child's personality, their curiosity, and what sparks their interest? My guest today is Sandhya Viswan, and let me tell you, she has redefined what education looks like for modern parents. She is an engineer turned educator herself, a homeschooling mom of two, and the co-founder of EdDeed, one of biggest India's platforms that is helping parents make discovering the right schools for their children a truly beneficial search and discovery process. Sandhya's work is all about helping parents cut through the noise, trust their instincts, and find out what it is that they truly want for their child, as well as what is it that their child truly wants from the schooling system. Hoping that today's conversation is going to rethink what you understand about schooling in general in India and in Asia, but also redefine what success looks like for your child. So welcome to the show, Sandhya. It's so lovely to have you here.
Thank you, Deepa, and it's a great pleasure and honor also to be here. Yes.
So let's start with a little bit about your background and also what your mission or purpose in life has been.
Okay, so nothing was planned though. Background wise, as you said, I have a tech background. I've just completed my master's in psychology as well. And I have been in the education space for more than 25 years now, various capacities as an educator, administrator, running my own preschool. So this space is mine. And I've always been interested in psychology and how and why people learn. So, that's been my background so far. But I also associate myself mostly as a mother, especially because the boys were homeschooled. Since 2009, we've been homeschooling. And I've been helping a lot more parents. I run a large Facebook group also on education and parenting, which is now 82,000 members and counting. So it's on a daily basis. There's a lot of help where everybody helps each other, sharing the information, and you can pick and choose what you want. So that's my background. But though this was not planned, my major mission today is EdDeed, the platform to help parents make an informed choice on their educational journey. It doesn't necessarily have to be a school today. So, I just want to help parents, like you said, cut through the noise, get the right information, and make their own decisions because that's an important skill that children need to learn in today's world. And you can do that only by being the role model yourself.
You mentioned homeschooling. You're a mother of two homeschooled kids yourself. And this happened in 2009 when technology, or rather social media, was just starting to peak. Where did you get that inspiration from to homeschool, or did you see parents around you doing the same thing? How did that come about?
So interestingly, I had heard about alternative schooling. I was just reading up about it. But this decision for us was not because school didn't work out or school wasn't good. My older son was in school. He was an all-rounder and he was doing very well academically. Our reason to start homeschooling was that he was gifted in music and we wanted him to spend more time in his music pursuit. In the process, the younger one just came along. And I, over the years, learned facilitation was more important than teaching. Because we are all conditioned that way. We come through a school environment. We know this is how. So the reason we took the plunge was also because he was academically bright. He was doing well in school. We probably would not have taken that risk if he wasn't doing well at school. So we thought, yes, academics can be taken care of by the two of us. And music, he will get more time to spend on that and things would go. But over the next couple of years, I had a major shift on how education can be. And yeah, it's been very different for both the boys. So there.
So what have some of your major learnings be, and like from this your own experience as well as helping other parents probably understand homeschooling a bit better?
So my learning actually has been that learning itself is a very natural process and there's a lot more that individuals, not just children a lot more, of course, learn before we kind of box it into goals,
I see.
concepts and things to be learned. We kind of train them over right early on today because we have nursery and kindergarten and all of that. In the early years itself, we try to teach them that learning is a process that can be,
Hmm.
channelized, which is not the case, especially at a young age. If you think back, we learned so many things on our own. If you ask a child who's not been to school, what did you learn today? They will not tell you that, but they have developmentally learned a lot of things. How
Hmm.
do they learn to walk? You're not actually picking them up, right? So there's a natural progression in learning. Similarly, cognitively, also, we learn a lot more if you're not limited by syllabus or goals. So that
Hmm.
has been my biggest learning. Let them be free, but be present, be observant so that you know where they're going. Because today there's a lot more exposure to things that might not be great for them. So I think that's where we need to step back than, you know, think that we know everything. So that's been
Hmm.
my biggest learning from my homeschooling journey.
So, uh, uh, would it be right to say that you're 100% homeschooling advocate? Like, if some parent or somebody were to approach you and say, uh, would you help us find the right school? And if you suggest homeschooling, would that be your way? Or do you still consider formal education system also a necessary component?
I do consider both. I'm not an advocate for homeschooling.
I see.
I think homeschooling is one of the options available to us. There are schools with different philosophies. So, what works for the child is what you need to choose. That's where I'm helping the parent make that informed choice. Homeschooling might not work for everybody. Like I said, you as a parent might not be observant enough. You might be good at
Hmm.
something else. Today, I would go to somebody for a medical advice. I cannot, for the life of me, figure out. I was just telling somebody, I don't have a green thumb. I tried, but I cannot. All plants would die because I don't know where if I'm watering too much or too less or what goes, because that's not my area.
Hmm.
Similarly, parenting also, for parents to make that choice, if a parent is structured and needs that goal, a school might be a better option. So in
Hmm.
my consultations, I don't tell everybody to homeschool. In fact, there have been parents that I have discouraged because I feel that the pressure might be more on the child in the homeschooling environment versus this. So I'm an advocate for the right fitment.
So so paint us a picture here, Miss Sandhya. Like, if a parent or any kind of stakeholder approaches you when they're trying to find what fits for their child, what are some of the considerations they're looking at? Like, when you mean what's right for the child, do you think about it from the space of his or her qualifications, how advanced their EQ or IQ is versus their personality? How does that work?
It's usually too early for younger children to be able to gauge any of that. That gets very difficult. What I ask the parent is, what do you see education as? What do
Hmm.
you want for your child? So, a lot of times, this is one of our taglines also, by the way, parents know what they don't want from
Huh.
education, but they don't know what exactly they want. Like, for example, they'll say, I don't want rote learning. I don't want, too rigid a structure. It never worked for them. So they know what they don't want. And they clearly sometimes they're trying to choose homeschooling just to be away from that. But
Hmm.
fortunately, I'm in Bangalore where we have a lot of options as far as school goes. So
Hmm.
I help parents to ask themselves the right questions on, what do I want for my child? And I also explain to them that developmentally, like I said just
Hmm.
earlier, in the early years, developmentally, they will progress. It's at a different pace. So, we have nursery classes, LKG classes today. I mean, I'm keeping aside different philosophies like a Waldorf or Montessori, but a regular class, there would be 3 year olds in the same class. But
Hmm.
at that age, 3 years, 1 month, and 3 years, 3 months, there's a lot of difference in the pace that these two children would be going in their learning, and you're
Hmm.
trying to cognitively push them when they're not ready.
Hmm.
Motor skills, you're getting them to write earlier on. Unless you find that right space, which, so if a parent says, I want my child to go at their own pace, developmentally correct, I would probably suggest an alternative space or a preschool that goes at the pace of each child versus a regular structured environment. But if a
Hmm.
parent says that I need to be on top of things and I know this, I want this for my child, then I would say a structured school like
Mm,
we went to, which is a good school, good environment and all that, no corporal punishment, things like that I'm against. But learning wise, if there are set goals, it's easy for a parent to support at home.
mm,
And any philosophy, the family needs to align to the philosophy of the school.
mm.
Otherwise, it's not going to work. You can say you want a J. Krishnamurti philosophy for your child, but you follow something very different at home. It's going to be very confusing. So I say choose these things to pick out. Ask yourself these questions. What's the environments that you want? What are your goals for education per se? And how do you find that kind of school? This is how I help parents.
And, you've been, like you said, in this space for over 2 decades. Without sounding too simplistic or dumb in my question here, why has choosing education become so complex? Like today's modern day world, like why has it become such a tough thing for parents?
One, I would say at least in Bangalore, because the choice is many.
Exists.
There's a lot. So it's very confusing. Two, many of us, I would say even your generation for that matter, came through very conventional schooling system. So there's a lot of misinformation about what the boards are or what our education system is. So they tend to think that abroad and there's more access also to information or news, which is
Hmm.
just probably the tip of the iceberg or or just a part of it, and you tend to think that this is the way things need to be. So parents are confused. How do I choose
Hmm.
what is right for my child? I know I don't want this for the way I struggled, or these are the things that I had. But where parents make that mistake is you never know that might be the right fitment for your child. Your child might be structured in their learning. You'll never
Hmm.
know that till you observe and figure this out. So this confusion also is because availability of more options today, awareness of different philosophies, especially in the metros and cities, or parents who have traveled abroad get to know a lot more, and so they want the best. And this is common across the ages, all generations.
Yeah.
They want the best for their child. But that's one thing that I keep saying, there is no best. It kind of evolves over a period of time, and first time parents are always scared. They
Hmm.
don't want to make a mistake. They want to take a decision that will be lifelong for the child, the right decision as far as school goes, and doesn't want the child to be in a position where they will have to struggle,
Hmm.
which, puts them down also. So, yes. And also, I find that parents have a lot of asks today. Earlier, our generation parents just wanted good education. For them, education was just education.
It
You
was
go,
standard. Yes.
yeah. While today, there's a lot more that they want. School needs to do this, school needs to take care of the socio emotional aspect, school needs to teach what other extracurricular is to be provided, especially in the cities where both the parents are working. Unlike earlier, they might not be able to balance out this. So I think that has changed. The
Hmm.
expectations from parents has changed due to their own experiences, and it's a lot more confusing today.
It's
Yes.
it's a lot more confusing. So, I studied in the early 2000s, and I remember my classrooms being anywhere between the size of 60 to 70 kids in one classroom. And we were state board, and it was an all-girls school. I mean, it wasn't hyper personalized or individualized learnings, right? We went through the same curriculum, except when some children in the classroom needed extra help, we had extra classes, and special attention was paid in that case, which was sometimes looked down upon because, they were the slower of our peers. What I'm hearing from you right now is, of course, there are different philosophies and schools of thoughts when it comes to education in India, not just boards, but also that education can be individualistic. Can you elaborate a bit more on that? If classrooms are still this big a size or perhaps smaller than what it used to be, how can education be individualistic based on child's, preferences, their curiosity?
Okay, so today, a lot of new private schools have a smaller number where it is limited to 25 to 30 students. especially in Bangalore. I've seen that. And even in other tier two towns, I see more new schools coming up with a smaller, number of students. Yes, 60 to 70. At a point, I think even I have been to a school where we were 50 of us in a classroom. At the same time, that same school, when it came to 11th and 12th, we were only 19 of us. But even then, I don't think personalized education was happening back then with the 19. But today, in schools that have a smaller number, and in B.Ed also for that matter, we are taught to differentiate. There is differentiated learning. So there is a
Hmm.
standard line, and there would be children above. Of course, again, giftedness is not a concept that is common in India. So teachers tend to leave those children because they think that they grasp quick enough. But also, so a classroom or a lesson plan needs to be able to accommodate both these sets along with the standard line. Many
Mhm.
don't do that because previous generations, the focus was more on content,
Hmm.
knowledge. The
Hmm.
skill sets were not important as such. And even today, in some of these schools, be it a CBSE, ICS, because the assessment pattern is still knowledge based with very few application based questions, skill building is there only in certain schools. Concepts
Hmm.
through skills. What are the higher order thinking skills that you can use? I will have to admit that the number of schools doing this is lower.
It's far lower.
Yeah, much, much lower. Having said that, the personalized, I don't see too many schools still being able to give a customized or personalized learning unless the school's philosophy follows something like that. And there it's a lot more easier to do away with comparison. While
Hmm.
in other places, even if you have innovative and progressive methods to teach, if the goal is the same for everybody, they will tend to compare themselves even if the adults are not comparing.
See.
So it's not perfect. And there are very, very, very few schools across India which would be able to give this sort of personalized, the correct kind of personalized to go with each child at their own pace. Having said
Hmm.
that, there are. I've been fortunate enough to work in one or two such spaces, but it's difficult. The maximum that they can do, even with the 30 students, is to have a lesson plan that accommodates different kinds of learners and different levels of learners.
I see. So, like over the last, let's say, even 10 years, what are some of the shifts in the education system that you've noticed? Like, depending on how it was probably pre COVID to post COVID and now where it is headed in general. Like, paint us a picture about the system itself, the curriculum, and also the way children are, you know, growing under the curriculum, getting into different aspects of not just the conventional subjects, but like going on to graduate and do other things based on where the curriculum is pushing them towards.
Too many questions, but I'll try to.
Too many, yeah. Just like where you've seen where was the education system when you started versus where it's headed now.
Yeah. So generally, the conventional way that we learned. Another thing that which we were not aware of is that even the boards that we took, be it the state board or the CBSE or the CISE, actually the board, had a lot more options even when we were students. It's just that the
Hmm.
school never offered it. Okay. I was aware of this when I was in the 11th and I came across an ICSE booklet with the subject options that were available. And you were free to take anything that you wanted. You could mix and match. Having said that, today a lot of schools have started giving out more options of subjects. The thing is that I think, where they should have shifted, they want to give the options, but logistically not possible because we work as one classroom, a set of students there. If
Hmm.
by high school they had moved to the teachers are in these rooms and these children are coming and going like you have abroad, it would have been a little bit of planning at first, but it would have been easier to give more options of subjects and the ability to take their exams whenever, however. Not the Indian boards, I'm talking about the foreign boards. But with the Indian boards, teaching wise, it would have been easier to have them the teachers in different rooms and the children moving out. I mean, could have been individualized. Having said that, now pre COVID, I think a lot more schools were still, even with different learning methods, not just philosophies, there were schools that had come up with their own programs,
Hmm.
which still stuck to the syllabus. Again,
Hmm.
CISE does not have a syllabus till the 10th standard, which we are not aware of. We think that the ICSE starts all the way from first, they start pushing. Most of the missionary schools tend to do that. But in fact, if you see alternative spaces which needed an affiliation, chose the ICSE board for this reason because there was no syllabus from first to high
Hmm.
school. It's only the high school syllabus. CBSE keeps changing its either the syllabus or the method of assessment. All of that every 5 years you find major changes from what they hear. But India being a very diverse country,
Yeah.
it's difficult for us to say. We don't even have a uniform system. A unified board
Hmm.
would have been great, like in other countries. Every place has different areas, and where children do well, not well, privileged, all sorts of. However, in India, it's just too diverse because even today we might have a present generation being a first time school goer, and
Hmm.
parents are not educated. So the support system has to be different. So after COVID, I see a lot of online schools that have come up, which can give personalized. In fact, I've just done a reel that will be posted in the next week, hopefully, on that part, because there's a lot of misunderstanding even with the parents. But I've seen not just online schools that have come up, access to resources
Hmm.
is a lot more today. You can supplement even tutors, how they supplement the school learning. They also have different methods. I just spoke to somebody last week who's created a package which can be either for homeschoolers or for school going children based on various programs where you have an AI tutor
Okay.
doing this part, and there are various options that the child can choose, whether they want assessment, whether they want to learn through a video, whether they want it repeated in a different format. With AI, a lot of this is possible.
Possible now.
So I don't see a lot of schools wanting to take up tech or making their life easier, because this is another business thing there, because there's a payment and the management would prefer that the teachers do the job that they have come into. So those schools, I don't even think they have progressed. But newer schools, I do see them using technology, and also, like I said, access to resources, different kinds of resources, and being able to put that into their lesson plans. So I've seen that shift. From a parent perspective, I find a lot of them are still scared to try something that is drastically new. In the
Hmm.
younger age group, I think till primary, they are still more experimental because they are
Hmm.
okay with it. But suddenly, when the child is 11 and 12, is especially first time parents, it strikes them, oh my God, exams. Is my child equipped to take the
Hmm.
exam? That's when that board exam looms on them. I don't want a rank or anything, but I want my child to do well enough so that they can choose a path.
Hmm.
So I see that fear in 11, 12, be it a homeschooling parent or even regular school going. So they want to make that choice of school right at the beginning rather than wait for middle school. Though, because I say that middle school is when you need to be choosing the board. So this thing, more than our parents' generation, I find that today's parents are worried about the exams at a later stage on how will they be able to cope, because their perception of the boards and the exams is still based on how they were. So that is one thing. Assessment has not drastically changed, unfortunately. It should. It's high time it does, but it hasn't. So that is there. But again, like you just said, more career options, more parents, especially
Hmm.
in the cities, are open to that because they want their child to excel in what they are good at, versus this is your safe option. Even I
Hmm.
think even during my older son's time, he's 25 now, when he was in high school, he himself, when he went back to school, he came back with this thought process that a safe option. He kept repeating that, and I was like, we've taken this path. How can you say about a safe option? Safe option is the right option for you. So that parenting challenges that everybody has still continues with a homeschooling parent as well. So this safe option is there also in the larger number of parents' mind in taking careers that are proven according to
Mm,
them, to be successful, even though today there's a lot more. And a lot more is not even just single streams. You
mm,
see, you can club different streams together. Wildlife photography, there's a
mm.
lot of physics there. There's a lot of creativity there. So there are so many career options that are a mix, which you can work on. And I see now, because I did explore for my younger son, that even the college level courses, because in Karnataka, NEP has been implemented in college level.
What is NEP?
NEP is the National Education Policy. Oh, this is a big
Okay.
buzzword. 2020, it was the latest one had come out. There have been previous NEPs before, but people know about the NEP 2020, which is a national education policy, which means, which is this time's theme is equity in education. So
Okay.
everybody needs to be educated. Now, how there are guidelines there. So the NEP has been implemented, not necessarily in schools. I don't know if you have seen, but here a lot of schools advertise saying that they are NEP aligned, but it's not come
Mm,
out as a rule to be followed yet. But there are a lot of guidelines in the NEP that can be followed by schools without it being a rule. Best
mhm,
practices like that. Okay, so
mhm.
that is one thing. But in colleges, it has been announced and implemented in Karnataka. So I see a lot of colleges, because they are free to design their syllabus and their course. They're having a lot more variety of course options, and the curriculum is also designed very well to be able to give more of those skill sets which we right now most parents want at the school level, which is not happening, but it's happening in the college level. In fact, my younger
Mhm.
one has taken BBA in sports management. He's a national level athlete. So he
Hmm.
can take the sport as well as, and he's good at
Management.
even if he's not performing, or if he doesn't want to be a sports person or take
Mm,
that up, he's going to be right in the domain that he's good at and he
hmm.
likes. You see, so there's a lot more. I've seen degree courses on graphic design, designing different kinds product design, so there are specialized courses, and there are curriculum is also developed to be able to suit that. So these are new changes that I see, and I've seen that even in some tier 2 3 cities that it has come up. Cyber, forensic science, these are all very popular courses that I see today.
So that's mostly amongst undergraduate students who's somebody who's finished their high school out of the schooling system, who have so many of these range of choices or options
But
available at their
also
behest.
available in high school, in school level.
Interesting.
Yes,
So,
I interviewed a school just last month, and they have 19 subject options for 10th and 12th. And
wow.
they can even mix it. It doesn't even have to be a stream, CBSE.
That's really fascinating, and it's amazing that parents and children get exposure through these multiple choices to be able to really test waters and see what their kid likes instead of just, you know, at our time saying, oh, you have to do engineering or you have to take the combination of physics, chemistry, math, and bio, and kind of that's kind of it, right?
Yes.
I know, Sandhya, we just touched a bit on the technological aspect, and I definitely want to dive a bit more deeper into it in this next part because technology is playing a very huge role in our day to day lives. Like kids as young as 11-year-olds have smartphones. I'm not sure what the demography count looks like in Asia per se, but I'm sure a lot of young children, young adults have access to social media, have access to educational apps, maybe school sanctioned, not school sanctioned. So they're using smartphones and devices very often as part of education, as part of edu or even gaming and learning. Are you seeing, first of all, the use of technology within schools? And if yes, how has that impacted the way education overall is being perceived by children, by the community, as well as by parents?
Okay. So very few schools use technology. Again, maybe the high end schools. Some of them
Mm-hmm.
market that part, but parents are still wary. I think though COVID was a good time for technology based platforms, it also had a downside because the larger number of schools just immediately went online doing the same thing that they were doing in a physical space, which definitely did not work. So the reel
Mm,
that I mentioned was to, because whenever I mention an online school to a parent, they say online doesn't work for my child because they have the previous experience of what the school did. And then I just did a reel, which we have not published yet, to bust that myth that online schools work very differently. They
mm,
can give the personalized, they use the tool properly. There's a little more because the program is designed in a way that you can have a personalized, customized learning as well. So this awareness I've taken on to kind of bring that there. But I've seen a few schools that have come up with tech. They use tech only as it's not smart boards and things like that. It's more of how do you use this, they have their own platform. How do you use it for customized learning? So let's say
mm,
one school that I know would have homework based on the child's level versus all of them having the same homework.
mm,
Okay. And the content is given to them. So they have a depository. So they're not moving anywhere else, but they're within the platform that they're using. So safety aspect also. But like you said, everybody else at home, you do have a smartphone.
mm,
Children at much younger age have access to technology and to sites that they probably shouldn't even be at. So
mm,
safety and security, I think, is a very, very big challenge now. Digital safety that needs to be looked into. So that is a worry for most parents as well.
mm,
Having said that, they also are not parenting differently to be able to use these devices as a tool rather than, just a babysitter, if you ask me. I've always believed that technology is here to stay, it's going to grow, and we need to accept it. Even with my homeschooling, though I see a lot of homeschooling families, they want the children to be away from gadgets, and that is why they choose to homeschool. Go back to
mm,
new. So I'm not judgmental anyways because I know my children are going to be in this environment where technology is going to be around them any which ways. Gadgets are going to be around them. We use it for entertainment any which ways. We parents do that, right? I mean, we do it for work, we use it for entertainment. We have no control and we expect our children to have control. So how is that possible? So I'm somebody who believes that it's here to stay, and if you use it wisely, it's a tool. Even if it is for entertainment, use it wisely. And this is what you need to educate children on. What we talk about the
mm,
higher order thinking skills, even in school and when we talk about academics. But these skill sets are important in decision making. And how do you choose? And that's where you need to teach the child from a younger age how
yeah.
to make their own decisions. That's just the baseline. The rest of it, they will figure out as they go, and you need to give them the chance to figure out. You cannot be teaching them everything. The world is growing so fast, be it technology, be it everything else, and it's also shrinking.
Mm,
You can access anybody anywhere at any time, right? So you just need to teach your child how they can be safe and how they can use the things that they have at their fingertips without
mm.
having to depend on somebody to tell them at every point this
Safe.
is how to do. So yeah, that technology I think is good, but yeah, how you use it is what we need to.
So you are using technology yourself through EdDeed. You have created a platform that is sort of a search and discovery tool that helps parents not only connect with one another, connect with you, connect with other educators and stakeholders, but also understand, where the best schools are, coaching classes are. So tell us how this kind of a technological platform is changing the way parents are able to use technology to improve their knowledge about education system in general in a city? And is this scalable? Are you considering to scale this to other parts of the country as well?
Yes, definitely. And we're not doing anything different. We saw what was happening in social media in the group that we were running. And we're just, because it's such a large group, we're just helping to organize it in a way that
Mm,
parents are already used to. So when you say it's a search and discovery, it's like Amazon.
mm,
Okay, it's a lot more easier to than asking in Facebook, where there are 82,000 members asking for an opinion or a recommendation. And not everybody is sitting on social media at every point, right?
yeah.
So the reviews also would be scattered. Two people might give you a review, but you won't be able to really choose and figure out how to make that choice. So it came from that. So we're not looking at this point at any complex tech on the platform. We want to make it as simple as possible for parents so that they can search, they can compare and make their choices. Just making it easier from the noise, so to speak. Having said that, we do have plans, especially in AI, to use in my consultation because I'm repeating myself saying the same thing to different parents. They might need it in a capsule format, and of course, they can come for a consultation anytime. However, the information that I give out there can be made more simpler and can be scaled up, as you asked, if I have an AI component there, where it's easier for them to get the basic
Mm,
information in a capsule that works for them. Not every parent needs to understand the technicality of what the different boards are to be able to make that choice for their child, or what philosophies are different. They don't need to really go and study everything if that's not their cup of tea. However, AI component will make it easier for multiple people to use the same thing at the same time without having a physical me sit there and tell them this thing. So we will be getting there, and we have other plans on using technology, but we first want to start the platform with what is simple in a way that they are used to. The behavior, we cannot majorly change the behavior of the user, which is the
mm,
parent, right? Who is a
mm.
parent there. So we don't want to change that. We just want to right now make the information easily accessible. Before we move to the only behavior we are trying to change is to make be aware that it is an individualistic choice.
Mm.
What suits your child might not, or what suits your neighbor's child. Sharma ji's bacha might be going there and doing well, but your child might not do well in that setup. How do you make that right choice? That is what. It also happens that what suits one child of yours might not suit your second child. The same
Mm,
school might not be the right one for your child, or the same
mm.
path might not be the right one for your child. So that awareness is something that we are trying to change, but platform wise, trying to keep it simple and a tool, just a tool and nothing fancy.
Yeah, that's I think essentially what a lot of parents also crave for when they are trying to search for new information. And sometimes social media and other platforms can make it overwhelming because there's too much information and it can get complex. So it's really commendable what you've been striving to achieve with the little resources that you have, just because out of your passion for the education space and the work you've been doing. This has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. I always love to end on a hopeful note, by asking my guests, like, thinking about the future, like, think you are 10 years down the road. What is the one hope that you have for this generation growing up, or the hope you have for the education system overall in India? Where do you see it in the next decade?
I actually want to see, I think it's possible. I don't know if it'll happen though. I think we have a really smart bunch of the new generation youngsters today, but we are trying to limit them with these gadgets and they are not using it properly. I think we need to just channelize that properly. If we do, I think we have the best generation of children. And as parents, we are the best generation because we've got our feet in both boats. You see, just before technology. So I think computer science was just coming up when I was in college. It was a new field, right? So we have that as well as what happened earlier. I think as far as we can expose them to that, I think this generation really has a lot of skill sets that they can build up, and we need to give them the platform. We also need to accept that they are in a new world and let go of a little bit of control. I think we really have a good generation that can be the best in the world, probably also in India. The old system part of it is good. We need to stick on to that and add these new technology-based skill sets that are required. And we're perfect. Yeah.
Thank you so much for those amazing insights, and wishing you all the best in your work, in the future work with EdDeed, and hope to stay connected and in touch with you. Thank you so much, Sandhya.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and bye-bye. All the best to you too.
Thank you.